thanks for tuning in. We're Julie and Dana, two moms navigating marriage and motherhood. But this is definitely not your mom's podcast.
Hey guys, it's Julie.
And Dana, and this is Not Your Mom's Podcast. So today I want to talk about what is your number one struggle as a mom? What would you say if you had to pick one thing?
Oh man, I had to do two.
Okay.
Because it kind of goes hand in hand. Me feeling like I'm being selfish with my time.
Oh, that's a good one.
Because I always want to do things for myself, like my hobbies and personal interests, and like also my night care routine, and just like that feeling constantly like, oh, am I giving enough time to my kids? Just because I have so many interests and want to do so many things, and also the way that I'm moody, and so maybe I lash out at them, in a way that I don't want to. I'm getting better at that, but.
Yeah, those are good. I also feel like, though, the self-care one is kind of a pro about you, too. Like, I feel like you could kind of view that either way. Like, I get it, because I would feel the guilt, too. Like, totally. I always feel guilty, like, choosing, if I have time, do I take the time for me, or do I take the time for them? But, like, at the same time, I think most people will choose their kids.
I know.
And that sounds great in theory, but also if you're not a happy mom and you're not, like, if your cup's not full, then, like, you're not going to be able to give to them in other ways too. So it could go either way.
I know. And I do try to look at the aspect of, well, I want them to see what a healthy adult would look like when they have kids. I don't want them to always feel like kid oriented, like the person you pick that you have involved in your life, making sure you have time for them. And then also making sure you have time for yourself, making sure you have time for your social life. Like they see me like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, I'm having dinner with friends or I'm having lunch. So there is definitely a, cause I want to do it all. I want to, have all the time for them in the world. And I guess maybe also it helps that like when we do have time together, it makes it more special. Like I don't let my kids sleep with me every single night. That's the wrong wording. We went with the route of having them sort of sleep in their bed and not the other way. What's it called that you do?
Co-sleeping?
Co-sleeping. I wanted to, but Trevor kind of was like, no.
Yeah.
And then I went with it because I also don't sleep well with anybody else on my bed. I don't even sleep well with Trevor there. So like, it helped me out. But then like the other night we're like, do you guys want to like sleep in our bed tonight? And they like freaked the fuck out. They're like, oh my God.
Yeah, it was like the best thing ever.
So we do
Your
that.
Your kids are
like,
easy to please.
Well, I don't know what that says about me. Like, I feel like I
feel like you could tell them anything and they're like, yes!
Because I mostly say no. I know, because it takes time. That's what I'm saying. Like, that would definitely be my downfall. If it's like, Mom, can we make slime? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to get all that shit out. And, but like, then I also let my kids wear anything they want, put on any type of makeup they want. I guess I'll go into like what I think then one of my positive traits is I'm super open. Like we'll talk about anything you want to talk about. We talk about all like life stuff, the weird shit, like anything you want, like any kind of emotional like problems or like school problems. Like I'm not hiding anything. I don't think they need to be a certain age for things. Like we talk about all of it. So I think I'm also pretty open and like welcoming and warming and like they'll feel comfortable coming to me. I feel like they'll feel comfortable coming to me. And also like, I'm also like real with them, like in the sense I'm like, hey guys, like, if you feel like we haven't done something in a while, like I want to know, or I'll look at them and be like, hey, do you want to do something this week? Because I feel like I miss you. And they're like, I miss you too. And they're like, I think I'm good. Like with my iPad today, I'm like, And I'm like, all right, well then tomorrow I want to make sure that we do this. We play a board game. They'll be like, absolutely. Let's do like a board game. So I don't know. We always talk about everything.
Good communication.
I don't know. I think so. I don't know.
Yeah.
In the end,
I know it's hard, right? Because like,
I don't know.
I'm not saying I'm perfect. They're going to have a different view on how we like are viewing it.
I know I'm like trying to be all positive because I'm like worried people are gonna like judge me, but I'm just fingers crossed that I don't fuck them up.
I mean, I think that's everyone's goal as a mom, like not to fuck up our kids. That's the ultimate goal.
Yeah.
But I think we're all gonna mess up a little bit, you know, like we're never gonna get it right. That's like the whole thing. We're like so hard on ourselves as moms, but like this is our first time doing it too. This is our first time dealing with this problem or dealing with a child this age or being a mom. I mean, we're not going to have it perfect.
Yeah. I just realized I forgot to put mascara on.
Oh, you look great. Your eyelashes are perfect.
I put a lot of eyeliner on, so it's okay. I know. We'll see. You definitely inspire me. Like you definitely inspire me. Like when I hear that you like lay with them all night, I'm like, oh man.
Well,
like
I don't lay with them all night.
But I mean, that's like not
together.
Even. Well, even when they're younger, I don't even think that phased you to like want to go to bed. Like to me, I'm like, like I'd be tired in their bed. I'm like, okay, you guys. And I'd kiss them like, I'm going to go to bed because I'm so tired. And they'd be like, well, why don't you just sleep in here? They always said that. I'm like, I don't know, because like my sound machine, my alarm.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for that. They're like, can you cuddle with me for a little bit? But a lot of times it's like,
I mean, I'll cuddle.
I'm down to cuddle, but then I fall asleep. I'm just not good. And it's like not really always a good thing. I actually got like an eye infection because I fell asleep with my contacts in so much because I would just like pass out with them.
I love that though. You surrender to their like love and needs.
Yeah,
And
I just feel like they're going to be little once and like, whatever. I'll have time for sleep one day.
I know, it's good. I love the inspiration. I love the things that you do with them, or like the games you play with them and making things special. I try to implement that more because of you.
Yeah. Well, I think we all learn from each other because like also there's been parenting things that I've implemented because of you too. And I always like, I think it's cool that your kids are easily pleased. I think it shows that like you have good communication with them. They know, I don't know, they're like grateful. I don't view it as a negative. I view it as like they're grateful. Like they're
good. I hope they stay grateful.
My kids aren't so grateful. Sometimes they are. They get excited, but like I definitely feel like they expect more out of me than your kids do.
That's true. So I definitely say no like a million
yesterday,
times a day.
Advent calendar, I was like, I wasn't sure if I was going to get called into work or not. And they were like, can we do the advent calendar? And I was like, guys, I don't know about today. Like, you know, there's so much going on, whatever. They were like, what? And like, they weren't being like rude or anything, but they were definitely bummed and like continuing to tell me how bummed they were. And I was like, you know, Miss Julie said that her kids don't mind when she can't do it. And they were like, what?
Oh, that's hilarious. I got brought into the story.
Yes.
I think because my kids are already like knowing that like, sometimes I say yes and sometimes I don't.
Yeah.
So it's like a 50-50 chance.
Yeah. But like you also inspire me, I think, to like care less about certain things, like, and have more open communication, and like there just are some things that just aren't like a big deal.
It's not a big deal. It's like, it's not a big deal if you forget the advent calendar, even 3 days in a row. And I just like look at them honestly. I'm like, you guys, I'm trying.
Yeah, we're all trying.
Yeah, I'm trying. I like just baked a billion cookies for like your dance teachers. I'm now doing another set for our neighbors, and then I'm going to do another set for your classroom. Like I'm struggling here, and I forgot. Like, and I'm going to probably forget maybe tomorrow too because it's a busy day, but I'm like going to be picked back up in a couple days. And they're like, yeah, of course, Mom. And they like walk away. I'm like, oh, thank God.
I know.
I don't know if I like, could I do it though? Yeah. But I also, I'm like trying to pick and choose like, then I'm going to resent the advent calendar, and I don't want to.
You want it to be fun.
I want it to be fun for everyone. Yeah, like I don't want all December. It's already a clusterfuck. When they're like
arguing during it or something, I'm like, if this isn't going to be fun, we're not going to do it. Yeah. So like, end of story then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say my biggest struggle as a mom is, I would definitely say like my temper.
Yeah, me too.
And like the guilt that I feel all the time with it. Like I struggle with, you know, getting loud or, you know, and I really try not to. I really do a lot of like gentle parenting. I implement a lot of that.
I know.
And, like, I really communicate with them and explain things, but like I will reach a point where I'm just like, I'm so done. Like, what are you doing? Like, stop, you know, and I like freak out.
Me too.
And then I will usually feel immense guilt. But I would bring that into my positive part of me too, that like I'm not scared to say like, hey, I'm sorry I fucked up.
Oh, I do it every day. I feel like I do it every day. I'm always cranky. But I feel like
that's a thing that like has changed in parenting. I think that parents definitely back in the day
they didn't say
used
sorry.
To view it as a weakness to say sorry.
Yeah. I'll be like, I fucked up today. Like I'll even say those words. Like literally, I'll be like, you guys, I'm so sorry. I was being like a total bitch. And they're like, no, you weren't. I'm like, I was. And
mine will be like, yeah, you were. Yeah, actually.
And my kids are like, no, Mom. And I'm like, and I'll be like, no, the reason why I need you to like know it is because I don't want you to accept somebody else that treats you like that. First and foremost. I'm like, it's not acceptable, but I am asking for forgiveness right now. And like, can I get your opinion on like, what would be better maybe? Because like I'll sit there and call your name, you won't listen.
Right.
Like,
also explain what they did wrong in this scenario. Because I think that's important. Know. Like I'll tell them that I messed up and I shouldn't have handled it that way. But you guys were doing something wrong that drove me to that point.
Yeah.
So like I need to fix this. Tell me how I can fix this. What would make it better? How should I, what you just said, like how should I handle it? Yeah. But also like how can you handle that better too? Because like I also don't want them thinking that they are also always the victim in it.
Actually, like, Styles will sometimes be like, I actually don't know what you could do better. Like we'll get to a point where he's like, I don't know, because he's like a fucking kid. Yeah, and he's like, I don't know, I'm just being a kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, shit, okay, then I'm gonna go back to myself again. Like how can I get better at this or, you know, whatever. But I definitely look at them and I cry a lot. And I'll be like, I'm so sorry. Like, I feel like I'm being such a bad mom. Like, I can cry thinking about it now. And they're like, no, mom. They'll like hug me. And I need that reassurance too from them as well. Like, I feel like we're definitely bonding in those moments. Like, they're like, no, mom, it's fine. It's fine. I'm like, no, it's not fine. Obviously, I'm unbalanced in my life right now. And I'm like being overwhelmed. And then like, I'm just trying to do it all. And they're like, no, it's great. And just hearing them like say that, even though I don't want them to always feel like they have to like, I don't want that weird, like, what's it called? Like codependence and like, and like, comfort me and stuff and feel like they are trying to be the parent now. But I still want them to see that I mess up and that I have moments where I'm crying and I have moments where I'm like, happy or cracking up with them or whatever. But like, I want them to see all range of emotion. I definitely think, like you said, like back in the day, I don't think I saw all those range of emotions.
No, I definitely
even
didn't.
seeing them be like a human being. Like I want them to see what I'm like with you. Like even when we have a glass of wine, we're like having fun and we're laughing, or me that's like working on my job, or me that's being creative, or whatever it is that I need to do. I want them to see all of it, because I think that the more that we shelter our kids and give them everything they want and tell them everything's going to be okay all the time, it's really not reality, right? So if I can start with me and we can work through it, I hope that like I think that the way that you interact with people is probably the best skill you can ever have. Like learning how to deal with difficult people and you trying to still stay like a beautiful soul inside and like just try to navigate. That's to me like my biggest lesson for my kids is how you like navigate with people.
Yeah. No, you're right though. Like where's the line of showing them all the emotions and showing them and telling them how you feel, how they make you feel, how you're feeling inside, what you're dealing with and your struggles. And also like letting some things be a grown-up and a mom problem. And like you don't have to worry about everything, this, but No, but I struggle. I see what you're saying. Like that is definitely a thing. Like there is those moments where I'm like, oh, am I oversharing too much? Like maybe they don't have to worry about this, And I do try to give them those moments of like, don't worry about that. Like let me worry about that,
Oh yeah, when Styles tries to parent for free or something, like, listen, I thank you, but I don't, I'm the parent. Like, let me, figure this out with Freya or whatever.
But I do think it's important that they see things too. Like, I agree with you. Like, I think it's important that they see me and John like have an argument.
I know.
But I think it's equally as important for them to see us finish that argument.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I don't think I've ever really thought about that.
That's important to me. I want them to see that like, we might be bickering, we might be arguing about something, but I also want you to see how we handle that resolution. How like we both are communicating respectfully, giving our opinion. There was times where like, and me and John don't actually argue much. Like it's not a common thing. Sometimes we'll be like a little snippy with each other, but like we don't actually argue too much. But like there was like a point where like we had a couple of like little arguments like back to back. And again, they were little, like minor. But I remember Lily being like, oh my God, you guys always fight. And I looked at her and I was like, you have no idea what fighting is. Like this is not fighting. I said, me and Daddy are allowed to have disagreements. We're allowed to discuss those and we talk about them, and we might not agree. We might agree. And at the end of the day, we love each other. We respect each other, and we will forgive each other and move on. Like I want them to see that whole start to finish.
That's a good thing to start fighting to finish, is like, I don't know if I always finish. I'm always like, And I like walk away. Like you will come back to this later. But yeah, we definitely argue in front of them. I don't think it's bad and I don't think it's good. I think they're just witnessing like, we definitely not like big time fight, but we are.
Right. Yeah. I'm not talking like we're screaming at each other or like anything like that.
We bicker.
That's a better word.
We bicker a lot.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Like sometimes even Freya will be like, Trevor will be like, say something. She'll be like, yeah, Dad, or something like that. I'm like,
well, actually, I would say it's 50-50. I was going to say they almost always take my side, but there are times where they'll be like, Mom, you're being so mean to Dad. He didn't do anything.
That's good. It's sometimes good.
It's
because
true.
You're like, fuck. And I know. Like, damn. Like, if they
like,
see that.
No, I didn't.
You're like, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know what
it's
I'm
true,
going
though.
through.
I think that we're trying so hard to be good parents in this day and age, especially. I think, like, millennials are really trying to change parenting, which I think is excellent. And I think it's needed, and we have to grow and shift.
Yeah.
But are we putting so much pressure on ourselves to be the perfect parent that we're hurting ourselves as people?
Yes.
Like we still have to be a person. We're not just a mom and dad. So it's great. We're devoting extra time to our kids more than ever before. Dads are more involved than ever before. These are great things, but do we take it to a point where we lose ourselves in motherhood and we don't even know who we are anymore? Or we don't know who we are as a couple anymore? And I think we are. I definitely think that we're taking it to like a huge extreme where I think previous generations may have taken it to the other extreme. Children should be seen and not heard. Play outside. Don't come in till it's dark. Like, the mom and dad. I still think
there was a little bit of benefit to that.
I think that there's like an in-between.
Not necessarily that hardcore, but like I definitely think
why can't we do the in-between?
Our kids' social skills too, like I feel like them not being outside and like playing with like neighborhood kids like all day, all night, and like figuring out like what you're talking, climbing trees, riding bikes, like learning how to get her, and like my kids now, if they have like a tiny dot of blood, they're like, I'm dying. I'm
Freya,
like, what?
Especially that
drama.
Kid.
I know. I feel like it's because I don't know, something about being sheltered or something and not playing outside. But what do you think about like PDA? Like, do you guys do a lot of like affection and kissing and rubbing and even like, I don't know, like a smack on the butt and things like that in front of them?
It's so funny because like I would say like, no, I don't think so. But I guess like, yeah, in some capacity, like John like hits my butt all the time walking by. All the time. Like literally, I feel like I can't do anything if my butt's turned, he's smacking it. And cute. Like we definitely kiss and hug and stuff. But like, I don't know. I don't think overly either. Like we're not like on top of each other either.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know, maybe a middle ground. Like they definitely see us kiss and hug and all that. Yeah. They always like separate us whenever we do it. It's
Me
so
too.
funny.
Or no, mine don't separate us.
Oh, they'll literally go in
us.
the middle. Like I'm like, what are we doing?
Oh no, mine join us. They're so like, yay, it's love. They're like little hippies. They just like come in and wrap their arms and they want to be picked in. They never like try to separate us. They always want in. And I'm like, oh, and we all
That's cute.
Come into some big huddle. But I would say I'm in the middle too.
I would say you guys are very PDA.
Oh, gross. In a bad way?
No, but like you're always, especially if we're out, you guys are always like kissing, holding hands, like
intermingled,
getting on top of him. Like, yeah, I would definitely say you're PDA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not in like a cringy way. It's cute.
I think it's kind of important though, like, because I think there's definitely some families that don't show any of that ever.
So my parents, I would say, didn't.
And I guess that's okay too. Which is
interesting though, because no, I think it's fine. I mean, I agree. I just find it interesting because looking back, I think I was a little like my parents weren't very PDA, and I would say not even like with me, but in a very weird way because they were also very loving. I was very secure with their love, and I knew that they loved each other. So like it was interesting that could all exist without like affection. Like I don't really remember.
Right.
Like,
maybe you don't. Yeah.
Now, when I was younger, they were very affectionate, but like thinking about when I was older, like, I mean, like they didn't like we hug and kiss on the cheek hello and stuff, but it wasn't like overly affectionate. And then with each other, like I can't even remember them kissing in public. Like other than like maybe like it's their anniversary or like they just saw it like, but like not normally.
Yeah.
However, with that being said, my parents had a date night every single week. Every single week they left me and went on a date night.
Do you do a date night every single week?
We don't do every single week. We try to do at least once a month. It was just me though. You have to remember, like they had one kid.
True.
So like
and family members.
And they had a ton of family. And I was the only grandchild for 11 years or maybe 8 years. So like I had both sets of grandparents near me that would watch me. They would take turns every other weekend. And then when I reached the age of sleeping at friends' houses and stuff, there was one kid. If I was the one kid gone, I was gone. So I think it was different. I think having one kid versus 3 kids is very different. It's it's like, it's different.
Even
so
3 versus 2, because if I can at least get Styles and Freya taken care of, you're like, I got Jack.
Right.
Always.
I always have Jack. Yeah.
I always have Jack.
So, I mean, in that sense,
he's
but like
4 though.
He is. Wild. He's getting bigger. So my parents, I mean, my parents like will take him like whenever. So they do sleepovers there. And then like Jack goes there almost every day during the week for a couple hours, which is super helpful for me. So like I would say me and John do get a lot of time together. It's just mixed up. It's not always a date night. It might be like while Jack's at school, we have a little time in the morning before
I was going to say ours is different as well.
Or like, my parents take him after school and we have some time to maybe just clean together. It's not, or work out together or take a bike ride or something. So
there is something about being removed from the house because I'll say that like Trevor and I get a lot of time together during just the day from after when the kids go to school till when they come home from school and then, later that night. But so I'd say that we definitely get to spend a lot of time together. We eat lunch together. We work out together. Nice, we see each other in the morning.
That's super lucky. Think about how many couples can't do that.
Yeah. But we don't always get that because we don't have family here to help. So it's really hard for us to do like date nights, like go out and do something. But my kids are basically at that age where I think I can leave them home alone for like an hour.
Yeah.
Even if we wanted to get a drink and appetizer.
Right.
So I'm just looking, I guess I'm sort of waiting for that time
Yeah,
period.
you're getting close.
Yeah.
You're getting close.
Yeah.
I have a little while still.
I know.
But I guess I'm getting close to the point that like I would trust Lily with, not yet, but like in the next few years, I could trust Lily with Jack probably, but I don't know. It's hard with siblings. I feel like that can go either way. Because if they're fighting,
because they don't care as much.
Yeah. So we'll see where it goes. But I don't know. I don't have too much of a problem with it. For the most part, if I plan ahead of time, my mom and dad are usually around, which is really nice.
Lucky bitch.
Yeah, it is nice. It is nice. And I've totally like took advantage of that. Not advantage. I totally took it for granted for a long time. Like I didn't realize that when we moved here, like, because by us, like so many people have their families nearby. Like I said, it was a very place where you kind of like lived your whole life. So when we moved down here, I realized how many people don't have their families nearby, and that it must be really hard. Like I remember even in my
like death
postpartum days, going to my mom's house just to get out of the house and have someone to take I showered at my mom's house. Like I'd be like, you know, early postpartum, and I just needed like to take a shower by myself, and like I'd go to her house and I'd hand her the baby, and she would just be like, okay, go, and like I'd shower, and then we'd go on a walk together, and like I'd be able to talk. Like, oh my God, I couldn't have done it without her.
I know.
In those early days. And even John's parents too. I mean, being able to like have date nights and all that stuff. Me and John did talk about, speaking of date nights, we definitely talked about that early on in our relationship so like you have to remember me and John got thrown into a lot really quick. So like we were dating for a long time, broke up on and off, whatever. We were dating for a long time though. But, you know, I found out I was pregnant. I was 22. It was totally unexpected. And then we had to I just graduated college. I didn't have a real job or anything, you know, like never even lived outside of my house other than a dorm room. So like we didn't live together yet. We didn't have finances together yet. We didn't like have a baby together yet. Like none of it.
Gosh,
and all of a sudden,
wonder that you survived.
Yeah. And all of a sudden in a few months time frame, we had to live together, finance together, have a kid together, be parents. Like, and then 2 years later we got married. We didn't like want to push that just to see how, you know, whatever. Yeah. Not that we were questioning it, but I was just like, we waited.
Let's do all this first.
Right. I mean, we did everything backwards. Bought a house. I mean, in standards, you know, we bought a house and had a baby before we got married. But yeah, so it was a lot at once. So I remember early on talking about things like that because I would say like our first year was a big challenge.
Oh, it sounds like crazy town to me.
Like we fought. Like there was definitely points where I was like,
I'm not sure.
Are we gonna make it?
Yeah.
Like I don't know, you know? And
that was a lot though to bring in.
It's a lot at once. So I feel like because of that unique experience, we did have to talk about a lot of this, like what we wanted our relationship to look like and how to make it work. And I remember us saying that like we both wanted to prioritize date nights and we both wanted to prioritize, you know, I didn't want to totally lose my youth in motherhood. And I used to feel like that was so selfish to say, but like, you know, because there's always that quote of like, once you're a mom, like, you know, like the kid comes first. And it's like, yes, my kids always come first in that concept.
I feel like, you definitely
own
that concept.
Yeah. But I don't think I own it as much as many moms do.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I feel like you're the most dedicated mom.
Are you serious?
Met. Yeah. One of them, yeah.
I would put so many above me. Many.
It's so weird how we see ourselves.
Yeah, right?
I definitely don't think
I actually always thought that I was very I don't want to use the word selfish. It's just the only thing I can think of, but not in a negative way. Yeah. In like a caring for myself way. I always thought I was more of that than most moms. Like I feel like, and then I met you and I was like, oh wow, she really takes it. Again, not in a bad way. My God. Not that I don't do enough. I do fun things, but I'm talking in like a devotional way. I still think I choose going out with friends and having date nights and, you know, the kids tell it to me all the time. They're like, you're always busy. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know.
I don't even know what my kids think of me. I don't know what they would say. Like if I was always busy or what, but I think they're just used to it or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been like that since.
I think the only thing that's changed is I work more now than I ever have.
Yeah.
So like my things that I've done didn't change, but they're feeling the work part. So I think overall it's like I'll work a couple days, but then we'll have plans or something. They're like, you're going out again. And it's like,
oh my God, my kids never have said that before.
Work is going out.
Yeah. Right. Like, I don't think my kids have ever said that to me. Like, oh my God, you're leaving again.
Mine say it all the time.
That's cute though. That means they like are really attached to you and love you and
they beg me to stay home. Yeah. beg me to stay home. Going on date nights is not easy. They will literally be like, why are you going?
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
yeah. There's a whole guilt trip before it.
Oh, man. I sort of wish my kids did that, but they don't.
Oh, my gosh.
They're just like, I'm like, I always say, I always do turn around, like, they'll be just sitting there or whatever, and I'm getting ready to go, and then I'm like, okay, guys, get ready to go, and I'm like, bring it in, I give them a hug and kiss. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna miss you, and they're like, I'm gonna miss you too, but it's not like, like we did a moment, but it's not like stay or drag me down or anything. I don't know if I'd be able to do that.
Hardcore. Now they've gotten a little bit better, and if they're doing something they want to do, then it's a little different. But oh yeah, for sure.
Even when they want me to stay late at night, and I'm like, guys, I'm tired, I need to go to bed. And they're like, no, go. I'll stay for a little bit longer, but then like the second or third time, like, you guys, and I like look at them, I'm like, I'm tired. I need sleep so that I can get you guys up and get going in the morning. And they're like, okay. It's so sad.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I will say I will use it as one of my strengths. I do think that I'm pretty balanced.
Yeah.
I don't know if my kids would agree, but like I do think I'm pretty balanced. I do think that I prioritize them a ton, but I think I also prioritize myself. I think that I'm fine with hanging out with friends and going on date nights, and we go away once a year.
Yeah.
Like, so many people don't do those things.
Really?
Yes. If you go around and ask couples who have young kids, have you gone away with your spouse? They probably would say not since before kids, or maybe once. Most people with young kids do not go away.
Do you think that's not just them being worried about being away from them? It's more like financial because we put so much into our kids these days?
I think that it's a mixture of
I feel like
not
that
having a village.
Like, what Trevor and I would think of is that, like, yeah, we'd like to go away, but I'm like, oh, I've got to find sitters, which we don't have help here. And then the time and money, not working because we work for ourselves, and then also like the finances it would take to, you know, whatever.
I think it's a combination, and I think that I think there are a lot of moms who don't want to leave their kids. I really do.
Yeah. Well, when my kids were younger, it was hard for me to trust.
It is hard.
It is hard. Figure out who you're going to leave them with if it's not like a grandparent.
Right. Right.
So
yeah, I definitely think that the lack of village in today's world is definitely probably one of the top reasons that couples don't.
Me too. I don't know why we're not pulling together more. Like that TikTok video you sent to me, which is like having like three families or something kind of all connected.
Yeah. Or like, why do we feel weird taking turns for date nights? Like,
I don't. I always tell you to bring your kids over here.
Yeah,
I'm like, I don't know that I'll be making like all these like awesome games and gingerbread houses. They'll just run amok upstairs in my loft, but they're safe.
Yeah. No, I agree. I do think it's easy to lose yourself. And okay, well, let's talk about living through your kids. Okay. That's something I definitely don't do.
Yeah, I don't think I live through them at all. Like,
but
what do you mean?
I also think that's a common thing. Like the moms who are like really into the sports because it's almost like, do you want it for your kid or like, do you want it for yourself? Like the parents who live through their kids or want them to have certain experience. Or
like if they like made a mistake in life, they like put that pressure on their kids because they think they're going to.
Right.
I knew a long time ago, perhaps, and I'm not saying I'm better, I'm just saying perhaps it's like through that kind of like personal growth and spiritual like growth that like I knew that my kids are on their own journey and they're smarter than you think and they are allowed to make choices for themselves.
And they have to make mistakes.
And I'm not going to try to be so involved. In fact, I always ask them like every month, I'm like, where are we at, guys? Do we like what's going on? Like,
yeah.
Did you have a change of heart? Do you have like new interests or anything? Like I constantly want to make sure that we're not just.
John struggles with like the letting them make their own mistakes.
Well, yeah, it's hard.
It is hard. And I tell him all the time, I'm just like, they're going to have to. Like, you could say something to them a million times, but you are coming from a place of experience.
Yeah.
You could tell them that the kid at school that's being a bully is this, all the things you would have done and you did and all, whatever. But like, they have to deal with it themselves and they have to like, you could help them and guide them. At the end of the day, they have to make their own mistakes and they have to make their own choices.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can't expect them to know things. Same with like gratitude. He always wants them to have more gratitude. And I don't expect them to have gratitude to the extent that he does. Like he wants them to be very thankful for everything. Cause he's like, well, I didn't have that when I was growing up or this or blah, blah, or kids don't have. I'm like, but they don't know that.
Yeah.
What we give them is what they know right now. One day they're going to grow up and have friends whose parents don't do these things. Or they're going to have friends or boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever that they see like the family's just little dysfunctional. And that's going to be the moment that the light bulb goes off and they're like, oh, wow, we had a really great life.
Yeah.
Until that, they don't know that. They're not exposed to it enough. And maybe that's my, I don't
know. Like, I don't know if I think that I make them be grateful because I didn't have that, but I definitely will be like moments like when they're asking Trevor something and like he doesn't always cook. I'm usually the one that does, but like during the last 2 weeks of rehearsals and stuff, he had to like do it. And so like he's like busting ass in there and they're like, I'm hungry. Like I definitely am like, you guys, like dad is working as hard as he can. Like I try to point out like what's 100%. Going on in the environment, and I want them because I feel like they're so like in their own worlds, which is great too, but like read the room, yo.
Yes, no, I agree. Educating them and like guiding them in those emotions, I agree with. Like we will always talk about people who have less, or we'll talk about, you know, and I'll try to like show them how we'll do things for certain people, or this or that, or showing them like, yeah, be thankful dad's doing this, or I tell them all the time, like when they're complaining about him or something, I'm like, do you realize, like, look around the dance room for a second.
Yeah.
Like how many dads are here cheering them on? And they might not all be able to be here, but like your dad is making an effort to be here. Don't be rude to him while he's here. You know what I mean? Or like look around and like see how many, you know, like not every mom and dad, could go with moms too, are involved in their children the way that like we're trying to be. So like I try to I try to teach them gratefulness, but I don't expect them to have the gratefulness yet.
Yeah.
Like I expect them to be respectful. I expect them to be thankful, but like I said, I know that we're talking from experience. When we talk about being grateful for things we have, it's because we know that we could have less, either because we've experienced it or we've seen someone experience it.
Yeah, or we can bring up like little things like, I don't know, when they like say, Mom, can you give me a glass of water? I'm like, you guys have your own limbs, right? Did something go wrong? Like you have 2 hands and 2 feet.
What is with that? My kids ask us to get them water all the time. I'm like, the cups are over there. Your hands are in front of you. Yeah. What's the issue here?
And I definitely do sometimes, but then sometimes I'm like, I'm busting my ass trying to get dishes clean, cook this and that. I'm like, you got to get it.
I'm so glad that's a universal experience.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, in that moment, I'll be like, you know, or like
John will be like cooking and like doing all these things. And I'm like, Dad, can you get us water?
Yeah. Oh, no. That's like a
get your ass up.
Yeah, that's a no. You're going to have to go and get it. But like also I feel like we can expose them to things they can be grateful for. Like I do think that even though they haven't been exposed to like being grateful for like their family, we can get them to be like grateful about those things by just telling them too.
Oh yeah. Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. You can educate them and you could say it, but saying things and experiencing things are definitely different. Lily learned what it's like to now have to live with a disease and have to take care of herself in a way that so many kids don't have to.
Yeah.
And it's so hard. That's another challenge I have, because sometimes I want to be like, when she's super down, I want to be overly positive and be like, oh my God, but like it's manageable. Like there are kids that get diagnosed with things that
instead
they
you're
die
like,
and
it's
this
hard.
And that.
I know what you're going
sometimes you just have to be like, yeah, this sucks. Like this does suck. I wish we didn't have to deal with this. Like, because who the fuck wants to hear positivity when they're like pissed off?
Right.
Like
you're right. I think I do a mix. Sometimes I like cheerlead them on.
Yeah.
Sometimes I totally get down with them. Yes. And then sometimes I offer them like, I don't know, a different like view or whatever. But like definitely you have to give them a mix of that. You definitely have to.
And I definitely do. But I know for a while I was trying to like kill them with positivity almost, because I was trying to like, because it was me, I think, making myself feel better too. Like I remember when she got diagnosed being like, okay, it's not like cancer or this or that. Like we can live with this. We can manage this, you know, but like, yeah, it still freaking sucks.
I think about you guys all the time.
Still sucks.
Yeah.
And it's definitely put another layer on things. So yeah, I definitely think that's one thing. And John also, the other thing, me and him, we always like call each other out on parenting things, and not in like a negative way, but like he'll be like, hey, like you're being like crazy right now. Like calm it down. And
sometimes Cheryl too would be like, okay, Mom. Like, especially if Freya's like being adamant about like an outfit or something, which usually I like do, but like this is in the past. I'll be like, I don't know, it's hot. I don't know why you're wearing a sweater. Right. And all of a sudden he's like, okay, Mom, like she just took a really long time to put that together. And I'm like, oh, you look great.
Yeah. No, definitely. And like we will do the same thing. Like sometimes I'm like, oh, I don't know why they're like, why they gave me a hard time about whatever, right? And I'll be like, well, you know, like, and I always do it in private. I try not to do it in front of the kids, but I'll be like, well, you know, like, maybe because you didn't have to say no to this or that or, you know, whatever. But like, we talk about no a lot. He's much more likely to say no than I am, obviously. I'm like the yes mom for the most part, even though my kids will also disagree with that. But I told him like, and it was a lot of like self-work with this, because I used to say no too.
Yeah.
like just to say it. And then there was a point where I was like, why am I saying no? So I started like asking myself before I say no to them, am I saying no because there's a good reason? And it could be a reason as I don't feel like dealing with this right now. That's an okay reason.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Or am I saying no though because I'm just saying no, just because I really like don't feel like it, but I'm kind of just being lazy in the moment, or like I just don't want to deal with it, or I don't know, like am I just saying no to say no? Like sometimes I just do it. Like I'll literally just catch myself saying no. And like
I always give them a reason. I'll be like, you guys, we can't do that right now because we have this, and that going on. I'm like, let's come back to that. Maybe we'll have some time this weekend. That's what I always say.
Yeah. And like I always do try to think of that, like, because I think it's easy to say no for no reason. And he's gotten way better, but like he used to say no to like so many things, and then they would be like, just when he would start saying no to something serious, they would almost like argue with him, or they wouldn't take it seriously. And like I say it and they're like very quick to be like, okay. And he's like, I don't get it. I'm like, I think because like they know when I'm saying it, there's a meaning to it. Like it's not just to say it. So he's like worked on that a lot, but
I don't think my kids ask me enough things to say no to. I think I
bet you make more decisions a day than you think. Like it could be as simple as like, it could be, this is like a silly example I use, but like this is a perfect example. This is how silly it could be. It could be raining out and they could be like, they could be like, I want to go play in the rain, or I want to go dance in the rain, or I want to go whatever.
Fine, go.
And right. Like I would just be like, okay, like go. But like he would be quick to be like, oh, like, no, it's raining outside.
Yeah.
And because it's going to mean that we have to get towels out and we have to like get their clothes up. It's a lot of work, you know?
Yeah,
like,
especially when you have 3 and one's little.
It's a lot. So it's like those little things where I'm like,
well, that really I guess it depends on what it is. Yeah. Though, you know, like, I don't know. And even like with like food, like they want to eat like all this shit all the time. And I'm like, let's have a couple and then let's be done. Okay. Yeah. Like I don't let them like go crazy either. Right. But I don't want them to be strict either. Like I want them to live like and have fun and not have like issues with like food and stuff.
Yeah. But, I don't know.
I mean, I do have a rule like that they're not allowed to have soda and I don't care.
Oh yeah.
I just don't care. I'm like, I don't care if anybody else is drinking soda. Like we're just not gonna do that. Yeah. Maybe when you get older and stuff, you can try it here and there. Actually, I think like this was big. Like they had soda day, like Sal's teacher has soda day on Friday.
I find that so weird.
I do too. But anyway, like he drinks Fanta now and he thinks that's like a big deal. I'm like, okay. Like it's the orange soda, but I'm like, still, I don't need them to have like they don't Coke or anything like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I really do feel like the more I say yes, the happier I am as a mom to an extent. But obviously we can't say yes to everything. But like even little things too, like when we were at the convention and the kids wanted to go in the pool. Do you remember that?
Yes, and it was late at night.
Yeah, and all the moms were
like, we'll remember this forever. And I was like, no.
And all the moms were like, no. So I had to stick with the no.
Oh, not the one when I said no.
No, when we were at, you
recent?
did say, the one we just went to recently.
Okay.
When we were at the bar and we were eating
and
all the kids wanted to go in the pool. Do you remember Jack went back to the room, got his bathing suit on and came down, or were you gone already?
I was probably gone. But most of the time it's just because like I'm tired. It's not necessarily I don't want to deal with them, but I'm like, I'm tired. I'm done.
Well, all the moms were like, no to the pool. But we were all sitting around. The kids were bored. Oh, this is when Styles was playing with that guy.
Yes. And I'm like, we're going.
Yeah. So they wanted to all go in the pool. All the moms were saying no. And they were like, oh, everybody stick to it, whatever. So I was like, all right. Like, I just feel like this is so silly. And I get it. Like, they didn't want to go get their bathing suits. But I told my kids, I was like,
mine had
when everyone leaves, like, you guys could jump in the pool in your clothes. Like, I don't really care. And they were like, what? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, well, we can't do it now because everyone's around and all the moms just said no. But like, I don't care. Let me tell you, those kids ran to the other side. They jumped in with their clothes on, swam to the other side, and were so happy. And it was like such a fun memory.
Yeah.
And what did it do? Nothing. I brought them into the hotel room right after. I mean, they literally got a second to swim. We brought them into the hotel room and they got their clothes off.
Right. You're definitely good at making things like fun
who cares?
Like that. Yeah.
You know? But like, I do get it. There's definitely moments where you gotta say no. It's not worth dealing
I don't know.
with.
That night I was like done. And I don't think they asked me if they can jump in the pool.
I don't think you were around for that part.
I wasn't. I left. But sometimes I'll say, I guess it depends on my mood. But I also know like my limits too.
Yes.
Like, I mean, I know that
this
like
wasn't like
5 extra minutes wouldn't have like killed me that night. But when my mind was like, I'm ready to get things ready. I'm also there alone without another
This
person
wasn't
to help
about
me.
us staying late though. We were there already.
Yeah.
That's why I was like, my feeling is if they're going to get out of my hair, go for it.
Yeah.
So like, go for it.
Yeah. Oh, me too. If they're going to do something that like requires me not to.
Oh my God, I'll say yes to most things.
Like
if it's going to let me sit down for 5 minutes.
And when people are always like, oh, can they come over? And I'm like, yes. Because that means that they'll be having fun and playing.
Or like they'll be making a mess in one room and I'm like.
That's why they stay upstairs.
Whatever.
They
like
try to come
just
downstairs.
trash the bathroom, but I'm like, at least I got 5 minutes apiece.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, stay upstairs, trash stay upstairs, whatever. And they always come moseying down. I'm like, you guys should go upstairs and play with the kitchen. I'm always trying to suggest shit to get them back up.
Right. Let's end it with this.
Okay,
so we talked about
rambled a lot about mom stuff.
I know, this was a mom one.
This is a mom one.
So, well, here's a good one. We talked a lot about like losing ourselves, finding ourselves in motherhood, and like marriage and balancing being all these things, right? What would be your number one tip for marriage after having kids?
Oh my God. I mean, I feel like
oh my God.
I know, because I feel like it's different for everybody.
It is, and I also think it's different for each stage, right? Like what you would do in the newborn stage versus like the child stage.
There's no help in the newborn stage. Like it's gonna be like hell, just so you know. Like,
so just have a mindset.
I mean, it was hard for me. Not by the second kid, but the first one. And it also depends, like, is it your first kid or your second kid or your third kid? I don't know. I guess it just means like, I think everyone would say the same thing, making sure you have time for you and yourself and like getting out of, to me, it's not just like time for yourself. I think it's getting out and being a human being separate from you being like the mom in the house or whatever and taking care of kids. I remember like even just going to Target like by yourself.
Yeah.
Or whatever it is, just having like an hour or two by yourself or with your spouse.
Yeah. Yeah. I would
Those were
say
helpful
like,
moments, but I don't know if there's like a number one. I just think that was a little helpful. But to me, the whole young kid time,
the first few years
was harder for me because there's so much that I like to do for myself and all that had to get like pushed back for a few years. And that's okay. I'm obviously like the sacrifice is like, I obviously would do it like a million times over, but yeah, I just needed more time. I just wanted more time for myself.
Yeah. I would say time, but I would also say like learning how to communicate really well. Like being able to say things like being like, I need to like get out of the house for 5 minutes. Like I can't do this right now. Or like,
oh, interesting.
I need you to wake up on the next wake up because I'm exhausted. Like,
oh yeah.
That way, like, you know, like I almost feel like with baby number one, I didn't want to ask for help.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not that I didn't, but like I wanted to, like, I was
You're
like
so consumed in that like new motherly, you're like
I was waking
up
up
very
time.
controlling the first baby.
Right.
Like very much like I've got this. Like I need this. Like you are definitely more. And then by 3, you're like, here's a bottle.
Yeah. Like I was just like, I need you to wake
up.
up.
Back to bed.
Like you wake up, I'll get the next one. And like with the first, we like woke up together a lot because we heard the baby and we would just like sit there and we'd both be zombies. And like by the second and third, we'd like learned like, okay, no, we need to take turns so one of us can sleep.
That's smart.
And all of that. So I would say like the communication of that and like being able to say like that whatever your need is or your want is at the time. Like I feel like that takes time to master, but I feel like the sooner you can like communicate well, the easier everything gets. Because you can't like expect people to mind read. I think early on I expected him to like read my mind, like in a way. Like, what do you mean? Why don't you understand why I'm pissed right now?
Isn't that like all the time?
Right?
I always want to be like, what do you mean you can't like read what's going on here?
Right?
Like, look in my face.
Yeah. Yeah.
Look into my face.
Yeah. And then I think as far as like, I would say for self-care purposes, I think just in the newborn stage and like early motherhood stage, getting out of the house every day. Sunshine.
Get out of the fucking house.
And get out of the house. And I feel like all of that
do your hair and do your face, girl. Like I remember like the like few times I did go out to dinner and like put myself together. I'm like, oh my God, I'm a human being.
Yeah.
I'm a woman. Like it felt good. Like, yes, your body's not where it was or whatever, but like, fuck, slap on some heels and earrings or not even heels. Just do whatever makes you feel good.
Yeah.
And bounce out of that house and like, don't look back for a couple hours. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like just,
expectations. Just lower them. Lower all the expectations.
Yes, lower all expectations. That's definitely,
oh my God.
That's a good one right there.
That is. All right. Well, we're going to go play some games now.
Let's play some games. I don't know what Dana's going to make me do.
Would you rather?
Would you rather? It's not the anal stick game toss thing.
No, we won't do that this time. That'll be for the next time.
Oh no, I better shave then.
How you make it, how you wanna.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to follow and subscribe so you can tune in next week.
How you wanna